Hello, welcome to our Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM live webinar, folks. I'm Dana Torgersen, Director of Product Marketing here for our Security Business Unit at Sumo Logic. I want to welcome you to our webinar today. Quick housekeeping, this live webinar is being recorded, so we'll make sure that you get a copy of it for both if you're here and of course for the colleagues maybe that couldn't make it. I'm going to take some time at the end for any questions that you may have. And while I'm speaking, feel free to click the Q&A button in your webinar window and jot down your question. We'll try to get to as many questions as we can. And of course, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions offline. My email is always open. We've allotted 30 minutes, and I want to ensure that I can get you folks on to your next meeting on time. So with that, let's get started. So I wanted to walk you through first and explain why security operations has to change. And for some of you, this might be a new concept. Others, if you're already living in, you're drenched in these challenges already. I think the challenges really boil down to these three key pain points. And I share this with you just to make sure that we're all speaking the same language, we're on the same page. I see that some of the attendees here today, based on the titles for you folks that you submitted to us, I can see that you're already in security operations, but there's also some folks on the call where I see that they're in DevOps and they're in IT ops. And so some of this might not be as realized or as visceral for them. And so I just want to make sure that they also have a chance to see this. What we're seeing when we talk to organizations around the globe is that through the cloud adoption, through the transformation to the cloud, folks are realizing that their existing security stack is just not built for the cloud. Legacy SIEMs were never designed to run in the cloud efficiently or at scale, let alone be able to take in data from cloud-based workloads. And so there becomes all these visibility gaps as a result. The cloud migration and the spending is going at like 6x the pace of normal IT general spending. And 3 out of 4 security teams agree in a report that we did in 2020 that we commissioned that their cloud infrastructure generates more security alerts than their similar on-prem environments. And so that is part of that contribution to why there's just so much visibility gaps, if you will, because of those reasons. There's also the threat landscape too. With this digital transformation effort, there's been this giant shift in the threat landscape and in the attack surface. The migration of those apps to the cloud, it's exploded the attack surface, and that digital transformation efforts is really squarely part of the reason. And with this explosion of attack surface, and so I'm not just talking about mobile devices and IoT, but also multi-cloud environments, containerization, and modern applications too. You've got load balancers, VPC flows, microservices that you're running. And as a result, organizations around the globe are facing more zero-day threats. Ransomware attacks continue to succeed, and advanced persistent threats are still an ongoing concern. But the one on the right here, the fact that security operations is no longer a human scale problem, that's where the pain really becomes tangible. 83% in this report that we did, 83% of security teams reported that their staff are experiencing some form of alert fatigue. And 3 out of 4 businesses determined that they would actually need to hire 3 or more analysts just to be able to conquer all the daily alerts that they're getting in. But we're still in a cybersecurity resource shortage. It's still quite tough to hire and retain the security experts and the talent that you need on your team. So there's no real way out of this to be able to hire your way out of this problem. And unfortunately, outsourcing security operations workload doesn't always help. We've actually spoken to a lot of customers who were formerly using some sort of outside help, some sort of outside source of service, and they felt they weren't getting value out of the reports that they were getting, daily or weekly reports. It just wasn't getting to the root cause of some of these investigations. And as a result, their investigation times were still lengthy, and they were still having a lot of false positives and missing something. So really, none of the traditional approaches, whether it's keeping your legacy SIEM limping along or outsourcing or trying to hire more experts, is going to work for the modern SOC. Your organizations need a modern cloud SIEM to be able to secure your cloud journey, match the changing attack surface that we're seeing around us, and also start to bring innovation back to the SOC. So when we think about all the different, sorry, let me click on the red slide here for you. what Sumo Logic is providing is really a completely different Cloud SIEM solution. And there's six unique differentiators that we bring to bear with our combined solution, which runs off of our Sumo Logic cloud native platform. And in the upper left-hand corner is really where it begins. It's with this automatically generated, and these are actionable insights. This is the combination of our collection strength, our detection flexibility, and we're able to triage these clustered signals and alerts into insights. And this automated alert triage that we're doing, we're basically automating level 1 analysts and helping you have to avoid hiring those 3 or more analysts that we spoke of before. And we're automatically enriching our insights with crucial data to help accelerate investigations. And this is including user information, device information, and network traffic analysis information as well. This tile in the center top here, this is speaking to our cloud native scalability. We've got a multi-tenant cloud scale elasticity built into our architecture. And this is helping deliver efficiently at any scale, at any time, across any users that are using it. This is what allows us, our platform is averaging 873 petabytes of data scanned every single day, supporting Super Bowl 2019 and 2020 Super Bowls, where we were seeing, pulling in 13.5 million events per second, sustained with an ingestion rate over the day of 220 terabytes, as just one small example of that. So it has the power that you need for the compute and the storage, all the dynamic scale. On the upper right-hand side here, this is the solution I'm about to show you, which is actually a central platform, which is not just built as a SIEM tool for 5 or 6 people in a SOC, but can actually be used by multiple different teams across your organization. So this is really a consolidation of your data, consolidation of tools, and the bringing together of your colleagues from possibly different sides of the aisle, all working off that same data and that same tool set. Lower left-hand corner here, this is really the best of both worlds, where we're taking our powerful search interface that Sumo Logic is known for, and we've integrated that with our streamlined, modern, and purpose-built security interface. And this is what helps streamline the security operations workflows. And this is what you'll see first and foremost in the demonstration today. In the middle bottom here portion, the tile for cloud native collection detection, this is speaking to the fact that we know the cloud, we're in the cloud, we kill at cloud detection and the collection of that data and the ingestion of that data. So we support all public clouds. And so whatever your data might be living in, whichever environment that you've already gone down the path or invested in, or in a hybrid arrangement or multi-cloud arrangement, you've got a little bit of stuff everywhere. This is really one of the areas that separates us, and it helps folks see value quickly. And speaking of value, in the lower right corner, the fact that we have out-of-the-box content ready to go to get customers up and running quickly and deployed quickly, and an intuitive platform that's easy to use, easy to manage, and doesn't require the headcount of SIEMs in the past. This is also key as a differentiator for us. And today, as I'm talking, I want you to keep in mind of what Sumo Logic is offering with regards to our security intelligence solutions. It's basically a spectrum, if you will. Some customers and organizations that we work with around the globe come to Sumo Logic just because they have an audit and compliance-based security use case, in which case, on the left-hand side here, that's great. We've our secure platform is certified and attested with PCI DSS Service Level Provider 1 certification, HIPAA and SOX compliance, SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. Our platform is now FedRAMP authorized with moderate impact level. So all of this is perfectly fine for some customers. They just want to store their data, know that it's private, it's secure, and that they can get in and look at that data and then use that data to help demonstrate compliance rapidly to the regulators or the auditors that they're working with. In the middle here, security analytics or cloud security monitoring. This is a great example of so many businesses that we work with that are cloud first or cloud leaning and are entrenched with their data inside of AWS or in Google or in Microsoft Azure. And this is where you get to have deep search, foundational correlation and alerting on that data that you've placed inside of Sumo Logic, as well as threat feed integration from CrowdStrike, actually, which is included with the solution. We have outlier detection functionality, log, reduce, compare, and a community threat benchmarking, which we refer to as Global Intelligence Service, where it's taking a baseline of other Sumo Logic customers and the data that they've got in AWS GuardDuty or AWS CloudTrail, and able to then evaluate your own risk and threats against that larger benchmark. But today, what I'm showing you is our security interface and the fact that with Cloud SIEM, you're getting all of these items on the screen here with those benefits mainly on the right here. This is the continuous correlation of all the threat data that you're bringing in from diverse sources, regardless of location, using our out-of-the-box content to make sense of what is actually happening, the threats that we're identifying. Security analyst workflow, which you'll see with built-in event management and automated incident prioritization, the alert triage, and this is what's helping to avoid and get rid of that noise that is so present in people's minds when they're dealing with their SOC tools and their SIEMs of yesteryear, and even so-called next-gen SIEMs that are on the market that still don't get to the crux and the pain of what it is to be able to detect these threats, do it quickly, investigate quickly, and get on with your day. So today, let me show you now a quick day in the analyst's life using Sumo Logic. So I'll flip over to the live demo environment. Again, remember, if you have questions, people, please go ahead and click the Q&A button and bring that up, and we'll get to that shortly. All right, what you're looking at here, folks, is our security interface for Sumo Logic. In particular, this is our heads-up display. This is the first page you get when you're on this particular page. You can see that our system is online. You're looking at a particular variant of time, 12 hours. I can change that. And really, in this upper left-hand corner is the meat of what we're doing. This is that funnel of fidelity where we're taking in all of your structured and unstructured data, doing a streaming ingest into the platform for Sumo Logic. And there we're normalizing the records. And from those records, we have the rules content that fires off and generates signals or enriched alerts. And this is the spot where most other SIEMs that you're accustomed to, or maybe even already invested in today, stops. And that stops with, we call them 39,000 signals. Maybe somebody else might refer to those as, 39,000 notable events or alerts. But we go beyond that. And we use our own algorithm to then understand which signals through clustering are more meaningful. And it's our opinionated view of critical incidents that need your immediate attention. So we refer to this as focusing on the threats that matter most to your organization. And we call those insights. And so we've taken 1 million records in the last 12-hour period, which apparently was a 2% increase over the previous 12-hour period. And we've boiled that down and fired off 39,000 signals, which is up 6% apparently. And from that, there are 3 insights, which is up 50% in the last 12-hour period. Now I could change that period of time, bump that out to 24 hours perhaps. It looks like over the a little bit further stretch of time, there was 2 more additional insights, and there was clearly an awful lot more signals and triple the amount of records that were coming through. Going down the page on the left here, this is actually a new feature. Folks might not have seen this previously, so I'm happy to show this off for you. We've taken out what was formerly metrics and data on the sensors and the collectors that is bringing the data in. Because a lot of times our customers choose to take this heads-up display screen and put it up on their walls of their SOCs or their NOC solutions or their SOC as a service walls. And they like to paint that up there so they can get this quick at-a-glance view. And SOC managers, SOC directors, CISOs love being able to see at a glance what is the status. So we've changed worrying about the metrics of sensor and ingestion data and kept that where it always has been in the product under this gear icon on the upper right-hand corner here for configuration. And you can check out your incoming data, the sensors, the log mappings, the different parsers, the artifacts and entities. But now instead, we have what's referred to as insight metrics. Because I've told you that insights are what matter most, and those insights are reflected by these triangles going around the horn here within our insight radar screen view. Now we're actually showing you, well, what are the metrics of those insights? It looks like we're 4 days in with insights that have detection. We're 10 hours in for response performance, 0 seconds for remediation. So that would tell me that there has been nothing to remediate per se. We're also getting a quick status at a glance view here. You can count the triangles, but sometimes based on the view of time that you're looking at, some insights and the representative triangles can mash on top of each other, and you can't discern that there's actually 1 or 2 or 5 under there. And you can hover over them like I'm doing now, but this is even quicker. That at a glance, I can see that there's 4 insights that are new. There's 1 in progress, which are shown by yellow. There are none closed right now. If they were, they would show up as green. And there are 0 in the other category, which if there were, they would show up as white triangles. And then down in the lower left-hand here is the insights, giving you a quick bar graph view of all the red items that are being created of insights and the performance of how quickly your team is closing insights as well. So this is a great chart here too for SOC managers and directors to see what is the team's performance. And if you want to gamify this and give out awards and such across the team to raise spirits, have at it. I would encourage that. Now, this whole time, you're probably drawing your eyes to the center of the screen here. This is our Insight Radar page in the middle of the HUD display. The Insight Radar is showing, based on the time selected, 24 hours, at 12 o'clock dead center is the time frame for the last 24-hour period. It's going clockwise around the horn. And as the legend is indicating here, your ingestion of records is denoted by this blue outer line as it ebbs and flows and data is coming in. And sometimes there's peaks and valleys, of course. Maybe you've brought on new tool sets, new detections, additional records are being brought in from a new data source. That would show here visually. You'd be able to see that in your production environment, those spikes or that consistency. When we're firing off signals on your behalf using the rule content that's built in and ready to go at deployment, they're showing up as these bar charts emanating radially around the horn here. And each one is representing yours 2,300 in this 20-minute period. This 20-minute period had 1,387 signals. And then finally, as I denoted earlier, the insights are showing up as these triangles around the center. So again, this is a day in the life. Let's be an analyst. Let's actually go through the workflow here. Analysts are probably going to be going right into the insights page. From here, you're greeted with a Kanban style view or board view of all the different insights, whether they're new, in progress, whether you've got custom, this whole thing is customizable. So here's a column board here designed just for our special operations teams for SecOps. If there's anything that this optional service of threat hunters is looking at inside of your data and performing hunts, you could drag and drop an insight for them to look at, or actually they'll do it on their own too. Tier 3, if I've got tier 3 analysts on my SOC team, have a whole board dedicated just to what they're working on, what they're remediating or responding to. And closed, I'm suppressing right now because I don't need to see, I don't need to look in the past, but if I turn off that filter, I'll see that I had 2,149 insights that we've closed out over the period of time. But this is a focus on what's happening new. I am a day in the life. I'm going to actually want to get in here. I'm reviewing these. I see that I've got high severity. I see that I've got 5 signals, 8 days, 5 hours, 13 days duration. Maybe I want to start working on this. So Insight 2165, I see a little bit of the TTPs here. It's exfiltration with command and control. I can see that there's an entity attached. We have entities attached with every single insight, and that's how we keep everything straight. We have that steel thread that connects everything together. And the entity could be a username, like in this case, Rico Dynamite. It could be an IP address, host name, and what have you. So let me work this insight as an analyst. I go into the insight and I'm greeted with the details of that insight. Down the left-hand side, I can see that I can take some actions. I can even automate actions as well and trigger actions if I wanted to. I could be on demand here. I could be picking and saying, let me send it off to AWS and do a notification. Maybe I want to send it off to Microsoft Teams, ServiceNow, PagerDuty, Slack. There's so much great integrations you can do with Slack and automation you can do there. Maybe I've already invested in SOAR tools like Demisto or Phantom. Great, have at it. You can also close an insight, delete an insight. But on the right-hand side here, this is where you're really starting to work. You realize that the different signals that make up this one insight, it's a one-to-many relationship. And these icons are reflecting both color and shape. And of course, that helps with folks that might have maybe a degree of color blindness. So then you're not just using flat colors. But when it's a diamond shape, it's a rule that was triggering that signal. This little teardrop teal colored shape is an anomaly rule that triggered. Threat intelligence would show up as this purple pentagon, and a orange or yellow square would be third-party intelligence that you've already maybe pointed at this, and that's what's making up an insight. And in this timeline view from left to right, I can see that these different signals are happening at different times. And the position on the graph from south to north or up and down, that's the different severity level of the threat that was the alert that was coming through from your security tools. In this case, we're connecting to a whole bunch of AWS content and data sources for different services. And so the severity is of 3, severity of 2, I see the severity of 5. This is great too, because visually you can see how stealthy an attacker is, or if they're going through the different stages of the MITRE ATT&CK framework. By the way, all of our signals map to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, so you're able to understand where something is performing a recon or exfiltration, threat intelligence, all those different stages of the process. So you can drill down and look at a particular signal, or back where I was with the main page, I could see kind of the play out of what was happening with this particular insight. Now it's exfiltration with command and control exhibited activity. That makes sense. It looks like it started out with AWS guard duty alert was firing, had a severity level of 5. It was coming from happening on this IP address, and it was a list match against cloud administrators. The API is invoked by this particular user from an unusual network. Okay, that's interesting, but it's still, you need more context. So now it looks like we had a threat intel match from an AWS API call. Okay, this is good. It was a stop logging. That's probably not good. And it's giving me the device IP that was involved and the username that was involved. Then we had an AWS API call from a terminated Active Directory account. Okay, interesting. We have descriptors here too that are crafted, so it helps the analyst understand what is happening and why Sumo Logic is stringing these events together on their behalf. Then it looks like with on the network side, AWS's network firewall, that's a new service that rolled out in November. Looks like there was a high severity alert that came through. A malicious user agent was detected, okay? And then finally, what appears to be the straw that broke the camel's back was a rare GIS guard duty alert. GIS is coming from the global intelligence service that we offer. And that was apparently just enough of this threshold to indicate that we better fire an insight and make sure that me as an analyst can drill into this. So since I am the security analyst walking through this insight, this allows me to drill down. I can look at a specific signal, working backwards from insight to signal, and now I can go even deeper and actually see the records, multiple records that make up this one signal. Again, it's a one-to-many relationship often in your environment. So now I can export the record as a CSV file or as a JSON file if I want to. I can even see the rule that triggered this particular signal. I'm going a little bit deeper here, I realize technically, but now with one click, I'm seeing the rule that was created, who created it, when it was last touched and updated, the last time it actually fired a signal using this rule. We also have a grid mapping out here the last several months and the days of the week of those months, and you can see when it is or is not firing those signals. It's a match type rule. We've got different types of rules, and here's a very simple, nicely laid out way of crafting a rule or modifying a rule if you want to or need to customize or tailor it to your needs. So if it's triggered when a record matches this particular expression, then go ahead and create a signal. And on the entity, this would be what you would show for the username using this name. There's a summary. You can have the description here. And then there's the severity. Is it a dynamic severity that is being deemed by Sumo Logic? That's how this is currently set up. But I could set it to a constant severity and then have a little slide scale from 1 through 9 of severity. And then whether or not this is a prototype rule for testing purposes. Again, I'm going deeper here, but I can see all the different insights that these signals have been part of. And so quickly, with not a lot of in-depth knowledge and experience, I'm able to get into this, start grokking exactly why this rule was crafted, why it was triggered, and put that back into context with the signal that I'm investigating. And there's also the ability that when you're looking at signal data and you see information across the product, throughout the UI, whenever you hover on IP addresses, host names, usernames, MAC addresses, you'll get this contextual action pop up with these 6 little blue dots. And when you click on the blue dots, it immediately shows you context activities that you can take. Now, pre-built into every single one of them is the ability to do a keyword search across all the insight signals and entities for whatever it is that you've highlighted. but there's also the ability to make your own custom list of actions. This is all the tradecraft tools that you as a security analyst are probably already well-versed in using. Cracking open a browser tab, copying and pasting, writing down notes on your notepad next to your station. But here, you can use, right here within the signals, within our security interface, use this as a launching pad to then go off and do a lookup on this particular IP address to find out what we've got in the entire Sumo Logic database of unstructured data too, that may not have gone through our Cloud SIEM enterprise algorithm. Go take a look at what ThreatCrowd is saying about it. See what VirusTotal has to say about it. Look for Zeus Tracker if that applies in particular in your investigative process. Folks, we've done all this to help streamline and shorten the manual toil that you would ordinarily have to endure while you're going through and doing your investigation. This is all an attempt to shorten your mean time to detection, your mean time to respond or to remediate these different threats, and get on with your day. When I realize that this is truly a threat and I've taken care of it, I've handed it off to the next team, I've taken actions, I've sent it off to somebody else, or ready to close the insight, well, then I simply close the insight. I can choose what resolution happened. It was resolved. Maybe it was a false positive. No action was needed. Or this, for whatever reason, is a duplicate. And then once you click close insight, it's done. And your insight would then show up. It would have moved it from the board view of new, which was 2165, I believe, and would move it over to closed. So this is a quick overview. I realize I've gone deeper in some respects of the workflow, but I wanted to impress upon you what that day in the life would look like, and the notice I wasn't having to get deep into a bunch of heavy text queries and searches. You can, it's still there in the solution, it's still there in the platform, but this has been streamlined and this is focused in the time. And this is great for SOCs and teams with dedicated security analysts that are working on the security operations. So let me go ahead and I'll flip back over here. We'll close out our webinar. I've been showing you all the buttons and the switches and the gadgets, of course, but there's also the people. And this is that support that is there when you need it most. And so with our Cloud SIEM solution, helping improve your SOC workflows, eliminate the noise from 1,000 alerts each day. There's also our professional services team with standard and advanced quick start packages to help get you up and running quickly and onboarded. We've got our ongoing premium support with enhanced service level agreements and dedicated or designated technical account managers to help execute and answer any support questions you've got. And I mentioned before, our SecOps team or special operations team, they're our mission-focused, team-oriented threat hunting as a service, basically, by our elite team of threat hunters and experts from multiple different organizations and government agencies, working with you and in your data, having access into your Cloud SIEM solution and being able to help you perform hunts, which just is a force multiplier for your team. This is a great service. If you're a large entity, you can never hire enough bodies, right? We talked about that earlier. If you're a smaller size organization, you might not have the staff or the security maturity on hand to be able to do this elite type of activities and security operations, in which case this is a great force multiplier for you as well. So at this point, I'd like to switch over, see if anybody has any questions. You can also grab this QR code if you want on your screen. You could learn more about our Cloud SIEM offering. Okay, let's, I realize we just have a minute left here. I want to keep everybody on schedule. I see a great question here. Ernesto, is this a multi-tenant platform? Excellent question. Yes, this is multi-tenant architecture running natively in AWS. And this technology is what allows us the scale and the elasticity to be able to have the compute and the power and the storage of your data and to secure your data wherever it lives. And I say that because you'll have the different collectors or sensors bringing in your data, whether it's on-prem or whether it's in GCP or Azure, or right there also natively in AWS. And we've got the out-of-the-box rules contents to help make that easy to ingest that data as well. I didn't get to talk about it, but we also have an included Zeek network traffic monitoring sensor, formerly known as BRO. And that sensor is there giving a lot of network traffic analysis and the ability to file carve files out of the data, store them in S3 buckets, and then you can actually grab GitHub-based YAR rules of your choosing in the community that we live in, pull those rules in for doing extra additional detections on those files that you've pulled off of the network as it goes through. And that works both for your on-prem network with our Zeek sensor, but we also have the ability, we tie into AWS's new network firewall that I mentioned earlier, the service that was launched in November, as well as using VPC traffic mirroring in AWS with our Zeek sensor in that virtual sense then, to be able to get visibility into that east-west traffic as well. Well, I realize I don't see any other questions right now, so I think we'll call it. So with that, I want to also thank you again. I'm Dana Torgersen, Director of Product Marketing here at Sumo Logic with our security business unit. You can reach out to me. Here's my email address for you. But you can also reach out to our Sumo Logic sales representatives or any of our authorized Sumo Logic resellers. With that, thank you again and have a great day.